And then you get to look back, and it's an opportunity for regret. Everybody knows we're better than what we just put out there on that field. And that all comes down to me. So that's my fault. And I'm going to do a better job in preparing you. I'm going to do a better job.
Noel Nation, what's going on? We're back. It's a Renegade Rundown with your boy George. We got Jen Santee, aka at Jen Santee 90. We got Deshawn Adams at Deshawn Adams 18 on the bottom. He's also got a YouTube podcast. We got it linked in the description. If you want to go check that out, they talk pro football. He's also got a college football podcast that's linked to that one. You can go find it. His guy D has a channel, so all kind of fun stuff over there. Make sure you're following Jen. That's how I found her. Following the hilarious Twitter talk about FSU football and going on a few different podcasts. So she's been with us about a year now. Deshawn's been on with us for, I think, at least a quarter of a year now. We're working on that 6-month mark. We'll be there before too long, working on 3,000 subscribers. But right now, Florida State is working on their second win of the season, their second ACC win, as they are on the road at Dallas. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the hurricane in the area. I believe it was it Darlene was the name of the hurricane. It was one of those deals, anywhere from Daytona to Pensacola. They weren't sure what was going to happen. Ends up looking like it's going straight at Tallahassee, and it kind of zigged right at the last moment. The conspiracy theory is that the magnet lab there at Tallahassee kind of pushed it around. But luckily enough, I haven't heard of anything crazy as far as damage there. There's some flooding, due to flooding and stuff on the coast, as always, but nothing crazy, nothing like when Ivan came through and took out the interstate bridge. But there is, pray for everybody in Florida. I'm not trying to minimize anything. Hopefully nobody had any injuries or anybody passed away in the storm. But there is a pretty serious state of emergency in the state of North Carolina. I checked in on our guy, Plant the Spear. He lives up there. I was like, man, you're the last person I was think that was going to be in trouble from a hurricane. But he said it's about 2 hours north of where he's at, so they're fine. But that dam that burst and flooded a couple towns up there.
It did end up bursting. That's sad.
Yeah, I don't know to what level, but it certainly malfunctioned and flooded like 2 or 3 whole towns. Like, it's really bad. So prayers to everybody up there.
I was on a conference call, and we do a lot of supply chain stuff. So in our emergency, we had this emergency that said this North Carolina dam is what was it? It was about to immediately burst, but I didn't get the notification that it did. So I was like, oh, okay. But sorry guys, I've been kind of swamped today. So that was my only bit of news I had.
Well, hopefully, like I said, prayers to all those guys up there. Not really familiar with the area, but anytime, Mother Nature and Father Time, undefeated. 2 things in this world that'll never be defeated. We can try, you can plan and all that stuff. But anyways, Florida State, like I said, headed to Dallas. We were wondering with the hurricane, would it affect the plans? We were thinking maybe they should head out on Wednesday. Why not just get out of Dodge with the hurricane coming? They ended up hunkering down and leaving sometime Thursday or early Friday morning after. I'm not sure exactly, but they are there. They're officially in. They made it to Dallas safe. The first thing I did, and where I'm going to start this conversation, I went back because I know Florida State people aren't that familiar with SMU. They got the death penalty however long ago. They slowly but surely built back up. We have a little bit of knowledge due to Manny Diaz being there and Rhett Lashley and their kind of connections to Miami and that kind of relationship being trolled online and things of that nature. But I went back and watched a couple of their highlights. I went and watched the BYU highlights, but most recently the TCU game last week. Because as you're watching the Cal game, we're doing these podcasts, we're talking, reviewing the FSU film, you're looking and you're like, damn. You're looking at SMU in the back of your mind like, damn, they put up 66 on TCU last week, and I get it, they're not good, but that is a Power 5 program, yada, yada, yada. Well, man, I was pretty shocked. I was floored, kind of worried, like, damn, they look pretty sharp, but also feeling pretty good. So when I watched that, so if you haven't watched the highlights to SMU versus TCU, I would suggest you go watch it. It was a weird ball game. It's just one of those ball games where SMU got exactly what they needed. If this game for us starts out like that, Florida State will have absolutely no shot of winning it. I don't see it going that way, but that game started, boom, they get a defensive touchdown. Then they get a special teams touchdown, and then they get another defensive touchdown. And at this point, it's like 28-10. or something. It's like they've only scored 1 touchdown on offense. Then they scored a couple more touchdowns throughout the thing. TCU really moved the ball great. I'm pretty sure their offense outscored SMU, but SMU dominated the turnover battle. I didn't look up the exact EPA off of turnovers and things of that nature, but it has to be up there with that Florida State Wake Forest game back in the day where it was just like turnover, turnover, turnover. But it wasn't necessarily. I wasn't seeing SMU's defense like dominate the offensive line or make these crazy things. It was just wham bam, thank you, ma'am, right place in the right time, and that's not taking anything away from that. But yeah, I don't see it starting off there. But we'll go around the room. We can start with Jen if you want. First kind of impressions of SMU and what we've got coming into here before we look at it from the Florida State side.
Well, I think also Florida State fans want to feel even better. I would go look at their game versus Nevada because yikes. I mean, that was as bad as we could have looked versus Boston College, if not worse. It was, and again, I know SMU is favored here. Florida State's going in as an underdog. I think looking at that TCU game, I think you're right. I think a lot of things went their way. And TCU also gave them the benefit of being gobsmackingly terrible at football. And I mean, there are a lot of things that are supposedly Power 5 programs. I mean, we're supposed to still pretend Northwestern is one, but that's fine. And so I guess TCU gets the benefit of that doubt and fine. But that was not a Power 5 program that I saw. And again, I watched them versus Nevada. I think SMU is a very decent football team. I think that's all you're going to get in the ACC. You're not getting very good teams. You're getting okay, meh, or decent. But yeah, I think Florida State could win this game if they play right. But that's all I would say about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I look at it as a turnover battle here. As you said, special teams and turnovers is how they beat TCU. They kind of jumped on them early. The things that I'm noticing, I'm just looking at the stat line, and I know stats don't give everything. The quarterback, Kevin Jennings, he was efficient, 14-19, 137 yards, but their offense wasn't required to really do anything. It was just mistakes that TCU made. And one thing I read between the lines and just look at it, yeah, they scored 66 points. Everyone looks at that, but they also still gave up 42. You got to look at that. That's when you start reading and breaking down numbers, you look at the amount of points. If it's a blowout, we're looking at the victor, but they still gave up 42 in that blowout. So if you can stop those turnovers and take 21 points off the board from 2 fumble recoveries or 2 turnovers a pick, and then the special teams play, that's 21 points off the board. You subtract that, it's a different game and a different outlook. It doesn't mean that SMU isn't good. I mean, they got a lot of former Miami players that were under Manny Diaz and last year. I mean, they are stockpiled with a lot of Manny Diaz players. I went and looked down the line. I was like, dang, he went to Miami. My confidence level in this game is kind of 50-50. I'm more hopeful than doubtful. I just think our offense has to find some kind of efficient way of moving the ball consistently. If we get any consistency from the offense, I think we have a good enough defense to give this team problems. I just don't know about our offense. But if we don't turn the ball over, we'll be all right.
Yeah, for sure. I will throw this up there just because he's leaving. Bobby says, later, guys, got a game. For a Miami fan to even join the first 10 minutes while they're actively playing for Virginia Tech, pretty cool stuff. Appreciate it, bro. But yeah, no, I agree with anything everybody said. That's kind of the first question I had after we said our initial thoughts. Like, is SMU for real? It's tough because, they haven't got into the meat of their ACC schedule yet. But what I've gotten from looking at those games is kind of what you alluded to, and we'll get to later on. Their success, their major success that they had on offense, if you take over, like what you mentioned, the 3 touchdowns, and there was actually 5 because there's another, I think 2 more red zone turnovers inside the 10, which that's good for SMU's defense, but it's not, that cracked up. But what I'm getting at with are they for real is most of their success has came off edge. Off tackle left, off tackle right. And that's great. And we've had issues, setting the edge this year. But I just don't know that they have the offensive line and defensive line to compete at the same level of what Florida State is if they can. We know Florida State is erratic We don't know what they're going to get week to week. But does SMU have the kind of personnel to go up against a Clemson or one of these, either in a Miami or one of these top teams at the moment, and not get blown off the ball and look like a G5 team, not get the things reset in their lap? And they've shown to have issues with that even a little bit in the BYU and the Nevada games, to what Jim was saying. Because, like, whoa, if that's what it looks like there, we'll see what happens. And, the offensive line, as you mentioned, the entire offense, like, there's a bit of question there. But I have a pretty good confidence that this defense could go out there and really reestablish the kind of offensive line or defense, their offensive line with our defensive line, and kind of blow this game up early. And if they can, as you alluded, just get a spark from the offense there, this team could have a chance to really win it. Tiny had asked if we could score 42. Nope, I don't think so. No, but I do think we can score 28 or 30. That's kind of what me and you talked about before Jen got here. But go ahead with your thoughts, Jen, on however you want to take that question. Is SMU for real? Like, what they've done, the numbers they've put up against their first opponents, does that represent who they are, or can Florida State come in there and really make them look silly, even though they've looked bad so far?
I'm trying to think how to answer this without getting yelled at here. No, SMU is not for real. However, can Florida State go in there and make them look silly? No, because they haven't shown me that they can make anybody look silly. So I think you got two things going here. No, I don't think SMU is great. And no, I also think losing to them would be absolutely humiliating and embarrassing. And the only Power 5 teams SMU usually plays, they lose to, minus TCU. But again, we still pretend Northwestern's a Power 5 team. I guess we've still got to pretend with TCU. That's fine. And I don't know. I think this might be a nice game for Florida State. Florida State plays well as an underdog. They haven't played on the road. Don't give me the Ireland bullshit. That was technically a home game. There was not a Georgia Tech fan inside in those stands. You know it and I know it. And everybody else knows it. So I think this could be a nice one. It could be a nice spot for them to establish a new identity. We got to know who they are, because we don't really know who they are right now. We have no idea who they are. Their defensive identity ain't there, really. I mean, what is it? They've done, they've done some things, some games, some things in other games. It's just not a consistent identity. So maybe they can't establish that. I don't know. I just need to see it. Their performance, the defensive performance against Cal, was better for sure. But they're going to have to really step it up this weekend. Let's see how it goes. So again, I don't think
the question is for real. Yeah. For real. I get it. No. I get it.
No, I don't. No, I think if they beat Florida State, they'll go on to lose about 4 more games. That's just
even if they do kick our ass, you're still not convinced.
No,
yeah, I get that's fair. I'll squeeze Mike Bart's super chat in. This kind of fits in with is Memphis real, so we can add this to Deshawn's question here. I know it's early in the broadcast, but how confident are you all in beating SMU tomorrow? Jen kind of just answered it, so that's perfect. We've got her opinion on it, so we can get Deshawn's on it. Nice to have all of you three back together. Absolutely. It's awesome having Jen back healthy. And who knows, we may move this thing back to Thursday now. There's more open time there in the future. I don't know, maybe Deshawn's kid gets bumped up to varsity and that works better, so he doesn't have to worry about that ever. But no, we're having fun with it, and it's always fun when all three of us get together. But go ahead, Deshawn.
Well, to answer that question, my confidence is kind of what I'd already alluded to. I'm 50-50 on it right now. I'm not doom and gloom. I'm more hopeful. I continue to look at the numbers and notice that SMU and those win in their victories, even in their loss, they've only thrown for more than 200 yards one time. So that's telling me now in a system that is last year with the air raid, you're only throwing, they're not averaging huge pass numbers. TCU threw for 415 yards.
Kendall Briles,
air raid spread. We know. Just looking in between the numbers, I understand in that game when you're down, you're gonna have to throw the ball. That's what TCU did. But Nevada was able to have some success running the ball. If we can run the football, I mean, it's the best thing to do. The easiest thing to do is control the line of scrimmage. If we can control the line of scrimmage, which our defense showed some fight, last week, showed some things. We look better in communication, and on the offense, we got some things together. It ain't perfect, but you saw a lot better. There was something that was working. I mean, they went away from it, but it was there. Now, if they go back and they look at film and see what was successful, I think they can run downhill and try to get a little physical with this team and see if we can get physical in the line of scrimmage. I think that's where we can control the tempo, and I think that's what they'll try to do. Maybe keep a little tempo on our side, control the clock, because SMU Lashley's going to want to go tempo offensively, but I don't necessarily trust SMU's passing game, and that's where I would say no, they're not. They're not what you've seen. They have the potential to be a good offensive team, but what you've seen is what you get. They've just been opportunistic in that last game, and they were able to make a lot of plays based off turnovers. I mean, TCU turned the ball over 5 times, George, and you can't win a football game doing that. So we can't shoot ourselves in the foot, and we have to be efficient. But
well, for the Miami fans in the chat, you guys know full well you can't win a game turning the ball over five times. There you go. That's for you guys in the chat. There you go.
Yeah, it's always going to be tough to win games like that. But yeah, SMU, man, it's hard. That Baylor offense, I absolutely, I had high hopes for it. I thought, in the Taggart days when they brought him in, I thought maybe they could figure something out. I thought maybe they should have tried something like that at the beginning versus the whole Walt Bell, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But what you figure out once your team has that, it's set up. Everything about that offense is to make the offense look good and F the rest of the team. So, what happens if you go down there, you scored in 1 minute? Well, your defense was just on the field for a 10-minute drive for the other team. So it makes it to where if SMU can get into a situation like they were where they can get a couple turnovers and they can get up 21 on you, that makes for a real long night because their playbook is wide open and they can do all these different things with their running quarterback. But if they get into a game like they had against BYU, then all of a sudden it looks a lot more pedestrian, and that only 100-something yards rush or passing, et cetera, shows up because you're stuck in 3rd and long and you can't, run the quick out. You can't run halfback off tackle because they're going to be waiting on it. So yeah, I think that's very important. The first half, I think we need to score a couple points in the first half. It would be nice. Points off turnovers and hidden yards is going to be huge in this game.
That's the point.
I disagree a little bit with Jen on the point of the defense, and we're going to find out because they did have some lapses on long plays. So it's not like they're perfect or anything, but I would say they have at least found their identity and what they're going to be and start pushing towards. You've started seeing those stars in the middle, start playing like stars and things of that nature. 11-7 have better games. But one place that I am worried about it, we talked a little bit out before the game, is the fact that Memphis has had so much success on the edge, and that's kind of where our issues have been. So we've seen a lot of them dropping 11 into coverage as a spy and things of that nature. We saw a couple plays where he did that and he was able to still beat the quarterback to the edge, the Cal quarterback last week. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that with this running quarterback. But if they can go into this game plan with that, really extending, setting the edge, trying to push everything inside, and they can handle that, they're going to have a nightmare if they're going to try to run it in at 5. I just don't think they have the kind of offensive line. I think we face a better defense against Cal. I think we've faced better offensive lines, 2 or 3 of them on the year than what they have. It's just, if you remember what it was like for under Browse at FSU, that's kind of how I see it. Hopefully I'm wrong.
Browse is at TCU. He's not at SMU.
Oh shit, I'm retarded. Excuse my language. Well, who is the well, excuse me.
Well, Lashley
very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Lashley mainly runs Casey Woods is an OC that they have. I saw that Tiny Hat put the veer, so that means they probably mix a little veer and shoot into their offense, which spreads you out really wide at the hash marks to run the football, but they're going to try to throw the ball a lot. But one thing I noticed, just to go between the numbers one more time for the viewers, look at the BYU score line and then watch the game. BYU controlled the line of scrimmage and they would have a balanced attack. They had 200 passing, 134 rushing. They were able to move them around. Both of them turned the ball over 3 times apiece. So looking in that, and yards per play, BYU averaged 5.3 yards per play to their 3.6. So I say that to say this is just going back to controlling the line of scrimmage. I think we have better players. They do have a lot of P5 talent on their roster, but most of that comes via Miami. They have a lot of guys that they do have some speed, they have some parts, but they don't have the sum of the whole. I think that's why they benched their quarterback and they went with the younger guy for more mobility. So that's telling me that they probably have some issues protecting too. So it's something to look at.
Go ahead, Jen. I know you're ready for one before we move on.
No, I mean, I think that you guys have made good points. I mean, I think for my comment on the defense, it seemed like it was always sloppy. It was like one play, you guys mentioned it would be a long give up. And that seems like it's been a constant problem. I hate to break that news, but what the third and fuller, fourth and fuller that we used to talk about all the time, right? I don't know. I need something. I just need something. I need a spark. I need that spark.
Yeah, you're not going to get a better spark than you got last week. I mean, that was a pretty amazing spark. I get it. You gave up the things, but you ultimately got them off the field. Like, it's aggravating. Like, it's like damning, but it's kind of like, yeah, it's one of those things. Here's why I asked the question, and here's why what you say has validity to it, what I worry about. Because you got Clemson right around the corner. So, I'd love to be able to win that game as positive as I am, and I'm going to pick FSU in all these coin flip games that we've been calling the last 3 weeks. Probably not going to pick us next week. But there's I think, and here's the question, can this be a turning point this week? Mm-hmm. First of all, is it possible? Obviously, we've all talked about it. I think we all can win this game. But if you win this game, can you get enough of an identity, have a turning point in this team to where you can go out and battle in Clemson and not let that just completely, throw everything off the rails? And I guess, whichever one of y'all wants to take this one first.
Go ahead, Jen.
What I would say is, and do not be shocked if Florida State loses to SMU and I pick them against Clemson next week.
Okay.
Don't be surprised. I think for me, I think at the end of the game, at the end of the show, when we actually make our picks, people are going to be surprised by what I pick. But I am not convinced that this team is as bad as everybody thinks they are. I honestly think they're not gelling well together at all. Nobody knows what they're doing. I don't know if it's a coaching issue or if the players just really need to sit down. I don't know, maybe study. I really don't know, because these aren't bad players. They're not bad. I mean, minus a few. We could go, but we're not going to go in there. I'm just saying, I really don't think that SMU has one player that's better than another player for Florida State right now. I don't. No, and don't come at me with their quarterback either. And that quarterback may put up 68 points against Florida State on Saturday too, but he's not better than DJU. He's not.
He did, Jen, I didn't mean to cut you off, but he didn't put up 66 points.
Yeah, I know. I know.
He hasn't even thrown for 200 yards yet.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
that's all I'm saying.
Anytime you go into a season and this is your guy, like what we're calling for with Brock, that's what SMU did. Yes, they had to break glass in case of emergency because this ain't the dude, and we're going with the young guy that can run, and that's what their offense is. So, and again, for guys like that, and we've all been there. We've seen the FSU teams with James Blackman. With you name the guy, Mackenzie Milton, Jordan Travis as a redshirt freshman, sophomore. When your center's getting put in your lap and your tackle's 3 yards behind you, so you think you're doing your drop back on a play action, you turn around and you get hit in the mouth, that's hard to do anything and it kills your confidence. I think there's an actual chance of that happening in this game. But how long will it keep happening until they hit a screen and then it quiets the stadium? Or, rouse up their stadium as opposed to quieting the home crowd. And then after a couple screens, now that, the defense is just tired, or the offense gives it back to them the 13th time in a row after 3 touchdowns in the red zone and you didn't kick the field goal or you missed the field goal or got a turnover. That can't happen. It doesn't have to be craziness. It doesn't even have to be 3-to-1 touchdown ratio. Just get in rhythm, take what you get, kick all your field goals, get your time of possession, win your hidden yards. I really like what they did with running the punter around in the last game, giving him time before he got it off. That way that there's guys waiting down there. You see the best teams do it. We've really lacked that. It's been a lot of the ball, him kicking it perfect. That's when you get it. But no, great coverage,
Mhm.
but special teams, it better have been also pounded, because that's one thing that they did. They made plays on special teams, and yeah, sure, the offense didn't score 66 points, but all that other stuff, like, that's good football. We've
Yeah,
seen that just because the fumble falls down right in front of you doesn't mean you can
you're
pick it
gonna
up
get it.
and
Yeah.
go for a touchdown. Like, it's confidence, it's a whole swag thing. And yeah, I think what Jen, for as hard as she is on him, like what she said is absolutely right. On paper, when you put them together and
Mhm.
the possibilities of where they can go as a pro or this or that, what they were as a recruit, there's no match. We have the advantage. I personally think you're going to see that. I feel confident you're going to see that week in, week out on defense. Yet she's not quite there yet. Offense, a different story. But
Mhm.
this is the second week of Alex Atkins. You get a little bit of confidence. We're going to see. But I don't know. Since this is brought up, I don't know if everybody's actually got to talk. We just kind of went back and forth. But
Mhm.
whoever, Deshawn, you can go ahead and we'll go to Jen and we'll move on.
Yeah. Remembering what you asked, man, just momentum. I think we started to see momentum this past game. So there was something, you always, as you said, Jen, looking for a spark. The
Mhm.
7 sacks and the performance of the defense, like you said, there were lapses. Two things can be true. We had to get off the field in 3rd and long,
Mhm.
you know, but they fixed one issue in that last game. Well, a few issues, but defensively, you've seen adjustments over the last each game. You've seen something that they went and tried to fix. We said you can't necessarily play Pat and MJJ together. We said shorten the rotations. We've seen it. We saw where you took Jackson off. You playing Lions a little bit more with Farmer. They even showed you something different with putting Farmer on the edge to help where you having an issue, setting the edge. You saw little things like that created momentum defensively. Now, where we're down is we're trying to find momentum offensively. The biggest things that we saw offensively that could show some spark or momentum was the running game. We were able to get something. Toa Philly had 80 yards. He averaged 4.7. We were able to run the ball. What happened was it wasn't that we were being stopped. We went away from what was working, and they went back to the same old, same old, doing the things, which is what you alluded to, where you have to ask that question: is it the staff, or is it this? It can't be the players at that situation, because if they're running and they're executing in that particular play, then what are we doing here? So we're looking for, as you said, George, those hidden things. So special teams, if we can win special teams, take all your kicks. Our special teams isn't horrible. That's actually
No.
the strength of the strength of the team right now is our special teams. So let's punt the ball when we have to, play field position, kick every field goal. If you're in range of Fitzy, kick the damn ball, take the
Mhm.
points. Take everything you can get to help your offense and to buy your defense time to adjust to what they just came off the field. The sudden changes has to stop. Mike has to stop putting Fuller in fucking bad situations. He did it when we were good. He's doing it when we were bad. He has to stop doing that. It's a killer, and it can kill momentum, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They get off the field and he makes a dumb decision not to go for a field goal. Then you always have these sudden changes with the 3 and out. So just speaking football, do the things to help the strengths of your team. Right now, our defense has found something. It's playing the younger, it's shortening the rotations, rotating the right players in. You're starting to see better communication. There's still some lapses, but that's where we play the games. You get cleaned up. So let's see if they get those communications and those 3rd and longs cleaned up to where we're limited to maybe 2 or 3. You're not going to hold every team, on every 3rd down, but let's see if we can get off the ball and put ourselves in situations on defense where we can get after the quarterback, because I think that's where our strength is right now. Let's put ourselves in position to do that. So if teams are going to still try to test you off of this season's film running the football. So you already know that's what they want to do. Let's focus on getting ourselves in the 3rd and long where we can get after the quarterback, communicate, get off the field, offense, control the tempo. Use up tempo, which you did in the last game against Cal, which worked. Let's use a little tempo here. Let's run the football, keep it downhill. Don't get too cute with the counters and all of that stuff. Let's start if you want to pull and run power plays, that's fine. But let's get downhill first. Get DJ in some kind of rhythm and find what he does best and execute that and keep it going. And I think that's how we can get a win.
Yeah, I know it's tough because you got to check and things of that nature. But
Yeah.
you really wish somehow they could make it easy and take some of the decisions so where he can just almost like a true freshman, just like if it's not there, here's your drop off or eat it.
Yeah.
If it's not there, here's your and that doesn't work. But we have seen success when it is like that early in the games.
Yeah.
Certain mixes running game mixed in with different scripted plays. So I agree there. And something interesting you touched on about we've talked about plenty arguing. Should we have went on this fourth down? Should we have kicked the field goal here? Should we have went for the first down here? Et cetera, et cetera. And like I'm with you. He's done it the whole time, and that's what I've always said. Like it's easy to call out all these things now that we're losing, but like that's what
Yeah.
he's done since he got here. He was doing
Yeah.
that for 13-0. But
Yeah.
there's another thing that he's done since he got here. He'd be on the sidelines, yanking Span off the field after a personal foul and getting after him. And we had a conversation on the show the other day where it's like, okay, why aren't we seeing that? Why aren't we seeing the fiery Mike Norvell on the sideline when they make mistakes? Well, maybe that's not what this team needs. They don't need that. If you hit them on top of the head, they're liable to crumple like a pillar of salt. So no, don't do that. Positive reinforcement. Find what's good and put it there. The people that make plays, reward it with snaps like they've done with the young linebackers and the young running backs. You've got Cam Davis starting this game. So why can't we apply that same line of thinking to your fourth down math? Like, with this quarterback and this offense on 4th and 7, maybe it's a better decision to punt, live another day, and not get him out of the game completely because now he's got all the work. I feel like Mike thinks he's just giving him, like, in basketball, if you're scared to take the last shot, coach may just put you in that position over and over again. After you shoot 10 of them, whatever, it'll be worth it. And by the time you're a senior, you're Kobe Bryant out there. You're not thinking about it. You're just taking another shot.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that what we're seeing with DJU? Because it hurts. It feels like mentally and with his kind of play, it's not his physical tools or anything, his mechanics. Like, there's only so much you're going to do. He's 5th-year senior.
Yeah.
It just feels like maybe take those off. Stop making him make such crazy plays. And even on as much as the fans are going to boo on a 3rd and 19, when you just run it, like, well, if he's not built like the Cal quarterback, he can throw it and get the thing. If he throws a pick on that, it's going to ruin the rest of the game for him. So that's kind of, I agree with, how we got there, all three of us on that. But I do have my hopes, and I've seen it week to week get better, not so much the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But you've seen after Memphis and then the Cal game, tons of things I like on both sides of the ball. We won't get too into defense because we've really talked about that ad nauseum, the young players. We can talk about it a little bit. But I do want to talk about the things on offense that we want to see, the things that we like from the depth chart we talked about on Tuesday. Hakeem Williams now starting at the X, which was Malik Benson's starting role as the number 1 receiver on the team. So I don't know if that makes Hakeem the starting receiver on the team. Again, these depth charts with Mike Norvell are kind of weird sometimes, but he's the number 1 receiver. They moved Benson over to the Z on the other side of the field. Very interesting. If Hakeem Williams can get going, he could be a real difference maker. That's one thing with these. You'd think Portier could be, but Portier doesn't get enough separation, doesn't have enough explosion for DJU to be confident to throw it to him early and on time. Seems like, to me, when he throws it to Portier, he catches it. He makes a great play every time, but there's just not a ton of targets there, and he's never been a guy that gets crazy separation. But Hakeem, with his athleticism, like if they're sitting back at the first down playing cushion, he should be able to get out, run a quick slant, run a comeback quick enough to like have him throw the ball. And with his size against a defense like SMU, you could see some of that, like classic FSU. Oh, I got the ball. I'm bigger than you. Break tackles, run for a touchdown, things of that nature. We've seen a lot of screens get set up for like Ja'Kai Douglas as the lead blocker or this or that. I also hope we see a better job of the screens being like, okay, let's somehow get Portier over on a motion, and Portier and somebody else is blocking for Hakeem Williams, or Portier and Hakeem Williams are blocking for Ja'Kai Douglas. On the offense, that's what I'm really looking for. And also, same thing as with wide receiver, the running back and the tailback, they're both running backs. It just says running back on the damn depth chart. One shows up first. That's running back. Tailback shows up second. And as much as they want to say it's 2 separate positions and they're equal and all this stuff, when you watch FSU play, running back 1 is kind of the spine of the offense. They get the inside carries, the bulk of them. It's a different thing. That second running back is like a third down running back in the NFL from like 2010. That's what they are. So I'm very interesting to see because last game they had Toafili, whatever you want to say, if he was at the tailback position, he was playing that running back role last game. I would like to see him start that game the same way, and how they had Cam Davis kind of once he needs some relief. Okay, now you got this heavy freshman coming that's going to pound it every time. I'd like to see them handle running back exactly how they did last week. But I've ranted enough. Give you guys both a shot on y'all's thoughts on offense and what we need to see or not see going forward.
Did you want to go, Jen? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I don't know. No, I'll let you go. I'm dealing with the chat real quick. I was making fun of that. Cam Ward fumbled, and then Virginia Tech scored a touchdown.
Okay. I didn't even have it in the chat. You hooligans.
What I like to see is something I already alluded to, more power running style, a little bit more downhill. Maybe sprinkle in some things where we did see DJ, maybe not with us, but we did use a little bit of under the center. Let's try some things under the center. I would like to see some things that you can run jet motion and do some things that had a little bit more of a pro look with some of the things which we saw at Oregon State. He actually was pretty efficient in that kind of a system. But like I said, get the running game going downhill. Don't come out trying to pull too much to start off. Play to your strengths. I think we are a little bigger on the line of scrimmage, so let's try to lean on those guys on their defense a little bit and see what we get out of that. Shorten your rotations, like you mentioned, George. I like what they did with the running back. Keep Toafili as your primary ball carrier and sprinkle in Davis and even bring Singleton into the game. Whoever you have to put at that second or third back. What's his name? Keziah Holmes, if that's the case. But keep your primary running back so that you can get a rhythm. That's one thing. There's no rhythm in the running game, and it never is. I get that it works at some things, but when you're talking about running backs need rhythm. And when you constantly change after 2 or 3 carries, your lead guy never gets a rhythm. I mean, what we saw with Benson was unique. He made the most of his carries. But some running backs, man, you got to let them tote that rock and keep it running, keep it going, and they just get a rhythm. And they never get a chance to get set. I also want to see complementary football from the offense. Help your defense out by controlling the clock and the line of scrimmage. Short passes, we've seen a lot of those. The screen game, we've seen enough of those. I would actually want to see a little bit more downfield. To keep the safeties and open the box up so that you can continue to run the ball. You got to keep the threat of the deep pass there. So that means you're going to have to connect on at least 2 or 3 just in the first half alone, just to keep them honest so that you can have a light box to run against. And you can keep, because you don't want to try to keep running against 9-10 men in the box. It's not going to work. And we saw that the first 2 games is running, bumping ahead against the wall. And it's frustrating. I think those are the things that can help DJ, since we know going forward, this is pretty much what we're going to do. There's no need to beat that dead horse. So let's do the things to maximize his strength by running the ball and allowing what we all thought, play action, and then going over the top or over the middle. But we also need to have some reliable hands on the field. So Hakeem, it has shown to be reliable in the little time he's been back. Don't even with the receivers, man. And I'm gonna stop after this. Shorten that rotation. I think we rotate too many goddamn receivers too. We do that too much. Everybody needs a rhythm. The only players that need to be on the field a lot are your offensive line and your damn quarterback, because if your line needs to gel together. You still got linemen that you're starting. They didn't play together a lot. 2-a-days, summer, fall camp, spring camp, that doesn't matter. You got to give them game time to gel together, and there's no rhythm and no continuity within the team. So I think that's one of the biggest issues that we saw starting out the season. There's just no rhythm, because they haven't played together a lot. And you keep shuffling and subbing and subbing and subbing. It's bullshit. You don't need to sub your offensive line that much.
Yeah, they were searching. Now we hope they have found, and they've seen it.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I alluded to on the defense. They figured out who the guys are. They got them in place, and now you see it growing. More and more snaps, more and more comfortable week to week. We've seen that somewhat with the offense, and hopefully that pays off. But, I love what you were saying. And here's the thing with coaches. You can run against a sack box with the right run call with everybody on it. Because if you have a running back that, okay, we called halfback runs inside run, but they brought up, a zero blitz. If you've got Dalvin Cook, he can say, okay, screw the call. I'm going to make a cut and take it outside, and it's a touchdown. But the backs, Roydell, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. Keziah, trying to break in to the player he wants to be, the freshman and things of that nature. The one guy on the team that I feel positive can do that is Lawrence Toafili. So that's why I was just shocked at his lack of touches early on, and then you see him explode last game. So when I'm talking about all that running back versus tailback stuff, that's what I'm talking about. I want to see Lawrence Toafili run it inside. I want to see him get those opportunities to get the best of the blocks. Because if there's a hole there, or if he can bounce it, he's the only running back I've seen all year that will bounce it if the bounce is there. And I've watched Keziah, Roydell, and both of them slam it in the B gap when nobody set the edge and the cornerback it's a field. We're looking at the field side, like there's nobody there. It's like, dude, one juke and you could have had 30-yard run, and that's just me coming from the couch, But anyways, but definitely hope we can see it get done tomorrow. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the calls up there. Jen, if you got anything on your mind, feel free to go ahead.
Well, what I would say is this is how I would like for the game to start, because it does seem like Florida State starts on offense on every game this year, which has just been an absolute mind-numbingly bad nightmare for all of our eyeballs to see. But I think this game, if you get it on offense, please throw it downfield.
Yeah, I forgot to talk about that. Yeah. Definitely.
Start the game, throw it downfield, throw it deep, I don't give a shit what you have to do. You make sure that person catches that ball. I don't care. I want a big bomb. I think that would bring up the confidence for DJU. I think it would bring up the confidence for the team. I think it would bring up the confidence for the coaching staff. Make it happen. I don't care what you do. Make it happen. First play of the game. I don't care if it's a 20-yard to 50. Whichever one it is, do it. Make it work. And put glue on those fuckers' hands. I don't care what it is. Do something. Cheat if you have to. Cheat.
Well, one in particular, Jen. One in particular's hands needs glue. Stick them. He needs stick them.
That Marcus Douglas loss was big, wasn't it?
Oh yes. I think we need DJ to probably get in a better rhythm with his wide receivers, so he's not solely focusing so much on Morlock. I think that's where we're not being able to stretch the field either. We do have enough speed to get downhill. We've seen Benson stretch the field. Douglas able to go vertical a little bit, even at his height. So it would be nice to see that. Even like you said, George, you said Toafili in the run game. Run the two-man go will. He was open on that same play that we scored the touchdown on. I mean, keep him involved in multiple ways. Just get the ball in his hands.
Too much, and it's not been a ton thrown over the middle, but too much trying to dissect coverage and do this stuff. Not enough. Just we got one-on-one.
Yeah.
Let's throw a deep shot and it be in bounds. I have to go back and watch. I think that's only the first or second. That deep ball he threw to Jakai, it was perfect and on the money. But all the previous ones were so far out of bounds, nobody ever had a chance. So it's tough. You don't want to turn it over. But if you are going to turn it over, it's throwing it 30, 40 yards down the field. So, and those are so huge. I mean, because you just connect on one of those, it completely changes everything. It changes well, maybe we can't blitz both our safeties every time. Maybe we can't send the house. It's a slippery slope because you start off bad and then people are able to call these defenses that you're having trouble getting rid of the ball, and it makes it even tougher. Yeah. So, if you can run the ball and if you can hit a couple of those deep shots, that and the one thing that we haven't mentioned, 2-minute offense. We talked about it with the scripted stuff. Scripted stuff coming out of half, especially the first, 5 minutes of the first half of games, they've looked damn good. But they've also looked good in those tough situations where it's your back's against the wall and it's a 2-minute drive. We've seen pro teams do it. We've seen college teams do it. It sucks because time of possession is so important. But I would like to see them just bust out a 2-minute drive in the middle of the third quarter when you really need to score. If you can. I get they want to do the mixed tempo thing where, we caught you off guard. Now we're going to go real fast. But the problem with that is you're not used to going fast. So now you're already struggling. DJU struggling to run regular offense. So it's okay. Well, since we got a first down, let's run, and go fast, and try to do it. And that's how they end halves either. Too, they don't call timeout. If they've got like 40 seconds, instead of calling a timeout and then trying to do the 3 plays, they just go with it. I don't think that's necessarily the right way to go with this squad. I think you need to just kind of, like we talked about at the very beginning of this, take some of all the NFL quarterback reading and figuring out stuff out and just let him kind of. You seen it with Jameis in the NFL. I think it was underutilized with him. When you took him, out of the every play is drawn up for a touchdown, as James likes to always say in the offense, and you just put him in a 2-minute, like, oh, we've got to get this many yards, boom, first down. Now we got to do this. I think that could help DJU out.
Yeah, I agree. Also, one more thing. We know that our defense is more of a bend don't break between the 20s. So Mike has to stop putting Fuller in those bad positions where his defense is being put where he's used to defending the 20 to the 20. He's having a shorter field and he's having to change his rhythm, So Mike has to stop doing it. Like we said, man, take every point you get. If you got an opportunity to kick the field goal, kick the field goal. Take the points.
Did we hear, did y'all see on Twitter people going, making excuses for why it was okay not to kick that field goal? Did y'all see those comments?
I mean, it was a 56-yard field goal.
Yeah, I get the no man's land situation. That was no man's land. So you kind of.
I get it. But I would have punted it.
Yeah.
That's my thing. If you don't like the 56-yard field goal, I would have punted it.
There.
That's the other thing. And by the way, I don't know who needs to hear this, but there is one person who consistently scores for this team. It ain't your quarterback, and it ain't any of your wide receivers or running backs, okay?
He's got to be the leading scorer. Got to be.
I don't know what else to say here, but your special teams have been the shining star of this team the whole season. I hate to say it, but that's true. It's not your defense players. It's not your offensive players. It's your kickers. And do y'all remember, in the Willie Taggart years on special teams when they'd go down there to cover a punt and fall over each other and just, oh my God. I mean, it was the worst. Whenever it was a punt situation and we had to go down there and defend it, it was just I just remember sitting there just going, just tell me when it's over. Because there's going to be a block in the back penalty, something else bullshit. Someone's going to fall. They're going to let this person run through. It's been awful, but this year, I mean, it hasn't been terrible. I'm gonna give you that. Yeah.
The special teams is still coached up, which is a great sign.
Yeah.
And we'll see what Mike does if he continues. Mike, if you're watching, I love you, guy, but just maybe tone down some of that. Maybe the way you get DJU some confidence is just let him operate within. But we'll see. Maybe he calls it the same way he has and always has, and we complete those. But what really worried me, and the reason I was surprised he kept doing it, is the one that we did convert was it was like a Hail Mary pretty much. He threw it over the middle into a group of guys, and we caught it. I was like, oh my God. But no, DJU, something is telling me he's going to break out. He's going to have a good game. So hopefully we can get it done against these guys. Doesn't look like we have any calls coming in. Miami's playing Virginia Tech 7-7, 9.5 minutes with Virginia Tech driving right now. Boy, that would sure be funny if the 2-2 Hokies could get Miami. I think this is y'all's or Miami's first conference game, isn't it? Man,
it's their first actual game.
Yeah, their first conference game.
It's their first actual game. I mean, are we really calling Florida a game? I mean, come on. Miami hasn't played anybody with a pulse.
Yeah, no, Florida, we can't talk much shit right now because of where we've been, but no, yeah, Florida would probably be at one of the
I'm going to still talk the shit until they beat us. I'm going to talk all the shit I want to until they beat us. That's it. I'm still going to do it.
Talking about them, us, it's fair. You're fair to talk about anybody. You haven't, you certainly haven't left FSU off this. That's for damn sure.
No. I've talked bad about Florida State, and I'll talk bad about Miami, too. Miami's going to have to come up here and actually win a conference championship, which they have yet to do in 25 years. And I'd be surprised if they actually manage to do it this year. I think even if they make it to the conference championship game, not sure they will. We'll see. They'll lose it. And they'll lose it because their coach will lose it for them. And I'm here for it.
I'm here. With all the discourse going back and forth, more than any other year, I just can't wait for it to all fall apart. I hope it's us. That would be the perfect thing. But I'm just fine
Wouldn't
with
that
it
be
being Duke
amazing?
or Virginia Tech or anybody else. We'll see. I truly, I don't think they've got a team that can take it all the way, but I do think they have a team with the right bounces and things that could like go 11-1, win a conference, and get to the playoff. And like that is my worst nightmare. But they have shown the ability to have that. But this is the first ACC game, so we'll see how tonight goes. And nothing would just make me happier to have those guys down in the mud with us. After just because these guys on Twitter, they are relentless with the quote tweets and all the stuff. They think like Miami has made it. They're 2013 FSU. They're 2001 Miami. That's how they're feeling right now. And I get it. I'd be hyped up too, but y'all schedule like y'all do for a reason. You know, we're playing our 4th conference game this week. Sure, we lost 2 of them, but hey, it's different. It's crazy how this works. We've talked about it a lot, how it changes schedules, but the fact that you can have teams that are in week 5 that haven't played a single conference game, and you've got other teams that have played 3, that's nuts. Like,
well, and good old Mario Cristobal was handing out calling sick to work letters so he could get people to actually show up at the game. Which is very sad. I mean, every time they have to do these gimmicks, it's even more embarrassing. Can you imagine? I could never imagine Mike Norvell sitting out a letter, signing it, and saying, "Please call in sick to work." I mean, ew. That's why Miami sucks. They're so lazy. You want to call in sick to work? You don't want to get paid? Ugh. It's like them and their BOGOs. It's just weird behavior.
I can't say anything. I'm like, they're a better situation than we are right now. They look like a capable team. 2 things can be true. They're our rivals and we hate them, but they look put together. It's a decent team this year. So, I mean, you can give compliments where they need to go.
It'll go south. It'll go south. You just wait. You wait. Just wait. It'll go south, and then all those losers will be all on Twitter going, the refs did it, the league did it, we did it, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Y'all don't go to games, you don't even know who did it.
But she's talking to somebody. Who's a Miami fan in here that has Jen riled up? I'm with it. I hope you're right. I'm here for the downfall.
No, I'm not talking to anybody. I was just saying, it's just funny. That's all.
Yeah, it's painful seeing your rival be good. They're good, but they're not.
I haven't seen them be good. I saw them beat Florida. That's it.
Come on, they're good.
Jen, 2 things.
I want to talk about the sky. We're talking about the sky being blue, and you're like, it's green. It's orange. Green. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Exactly. I get it though. You don't want to give credit, but we're just talking football.
Miami's good.
They're a good football team.
They're okay. They're okay. They've done what they're supposed to do. Hang on. Y'all are freaking out. They've done what they're supposed to do. Who have they beaten that gives you like the wiggles and the giggles?
Can we not do this? I mean,
there's only so many teams that do what they're supposed to do.
I understand that.
I didn't say they're the best team.
They're solid. They say they're the best team.
But they're pretty good.
They're good football.
They are good.
There's nothing wrong with saying they're a good damn football team.
I didn't say there was anything wrong with it. I just said they'll fuck it up. That's all I fucking said, guys. Calm it down.
You're
Simmer down, brown cow. No, it's not hoping. It is Mario Cristobal is coaching, and this is a Miami football team. It will happen. It's like the Dallas Cowboys. It will happen. I will be Stephen A. Smith on this.
They are good. Saying they will break down does not change the fact that they are good.
They are good. Yes.
Those are 2 things that can be true.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. You know what?
I want it to happen.
Miami. How in the world are you going to sit here and be like, oh, they're so good? They played
Nobody did that. Nobody said that. We just said they're a good football team.
That's what Joe just said.
We said they are good.
I said they're good. You said they're not good. They're not even okay. You said they're.
I said they were.
George.
I said we don't.
We have to be able to live in a reality.
Yes. We didn't say that they were better than Georgia. We didn't say they were better than Ohio State. We just said they were a good football team.
Where would you rank them?
That's really it.
Where would you rank them? Where would you rank them?
Based on who they've played so far? Their biggest win being what?
No,
Florida?
just throw all that bullshit out. Where would you rank them right now?
15.
Okay,
That's
that's
bullshit, Jen. Stop
fucking
it.
excellent.
Stop
That's
it. That's
excellent. That's
bullshit,
more than
Jen.
good. That's very, very,
No.
very good.
What are there
Tiny
there
Hat's
is
calling in. Go
oh
ahead,
goodness,
Deshawn.
he's about to
Get your take off, and
no.
we'll let
I'm
Deshawn go.
saying that's
He's
bullshit
probably
because I'm
going to
saying
jump on
what
Vince.
you're saying, you can point out weaknesses and strengths, but they're not 15th or lower. They are a top 10 team right now. Right now. Listen to every word that I
I
say.
said
They're
I would rank
right
them
now.
15. What the fuck else you want from me?
They're a top
Like I
10
said-
team right now.
You just said top
We can
15.
argue top 5, but that's like 15
Like, who
between
gives a
10.
shit?
That's way above good. That's excellent. But go ahead,
Yeah.
Tiny. You're live,
Go
Tiny
ahead,
Hat.
Tiny. He's about to tear me one.
Yes,
I know.
yes,
Good.
yes. The Tiny Hat CEO has returned to the Renegade Rundown. First off, shout out to Jen, looking like somebody picked her fresh off of a stalk of cotton. What's up, Deshawn? How you doing? And G up here again with his Thanksgiving Day shirt on, buttoned up, missing the top button there. What's good with you, boy? This is why I'm calling up. You see, I was over here in the chat paying attention, minding my business, and I didn't realize that Deshawn and George are working the late shift at Krispy Kreme because all of the glazing that y'all doing in Miami right now is just ridiculous. It is pitiful. All right, are they getting full? Is this a half dozen glaze? Is it a half dozen? Is it a whole dozen? Is it a baker's dozen of the glaze that we got going on? This Miami team ain't beat nothing but 3 high school teams and one team that used to think that it was a Power 5 football squad in Florida. We can't say whether they good or not. Now, one thing that I did hear, they doing what they're supposed to do. Well, hell, if I was at a big Power 5 school and I had all of the transfer portal money and I had all of the top level recruits and if I had all of the I would expect to be able to whoop the ass of a whole bunch of high school teams. I'm not giving them no credit for that. Miami, is, as far as I'm concerned, is 1-0 because they beat that one raggedy ass program. Outside of that, show me who y'all got on y'all schedule we're talking about. They ain't gonna play a tough game until they play what, Louisville? And then hopefully if they don't stumble along the way, then we can sit here and give them all the praise in the world. Absolutely not. I ain't never said nothing good about
I'm
that.
just trying to figure out where some of y'all was watching where they was getting all this praise. We just said they're fucking good. You can't act like they're dogs. They're good.
Yeah, they're solid football team.
Out of your mouth, say that Miami is a good football team. You don't know that they good until
You don't think they are? Where would you rank them? What is a good football team? What the fuck is a good football team? Tell me what that means. Because this is like, what is a good football team? Is that top 3?
I'm gonna tell you what it means if you would give me a moment. Here's what I know. Okay, here's what I know. A good football team is a team that plays top level competition and they come out with the dub. A good football team is a team that faces adversity and they overcome adversity to get the dub. A good football team is not compared to the other top football teams in the country when they playing bums off the street. They play 3 high school squads like I just told you. How you gonna say they're a good team? All they did was go out there with bigger horses. You know what Miami is? I'm gonna tell you what Miami is. First off, they ain't even Miami. They're the University of Coral Gables Hurricanes. They ain't even in Miami. All right? The University of Coral Gables. I'm gonna tell you what they are. They are a dude who is in high school that got their license and their car first, so they think they got all the game in the world, while all of the rest of the kids are walking around still catching the bus and their mama coming to pick them up. Okay, we're not gonna give you no credit for that. Just because you are half a year older than somebody else, you think we got to give a damn? Ain't no damn way. No, we don't know what Miami is. For all we can care right now, Miami driving an old 67 beater. They got an 81 Miata. That's what we looking at right here. We don't know because we didn't see them in an actual race yet. All right, they still going around a warning track 2 or 3 times. Fuck out of here with Miami. Nobody want to hit nothing out of that raggedy ass team. So I want to say to Jen, I got your back, girl. You don't have to worry about it. We out here. The chat's on your side. We got your back, baby. And to these 2 shift managers of the Krispy Kreme over here on Federal Highway, I'm gonna need y'all to get together out there. We out.
You ain't shit for that one. Shift managers.
This was Warren Sapp coming on to Cam Newton's podcast about the game manager versus the fucking game changer. And when Cam Newton says Tom Brady's a game manager, like that's basically where we're at. But no, that's fun shit. I get it. There's nobody on this fucking planet that doesn't want to say anything good about Miami. But this show, the Renegade Rundown, is what it is. It's based in reality, and it's fun. I like talking shit too, but you know, I can't sit here and look at the product they've put on the field The
And look at
product we
our
put up on
product.
the field and what it is, and we can draw the line of what good is. No, let me finish. No, let me finish. We can draw the line of where what elite is or what good is, or whether me and Deshawn were glazing. But in order for us to have an
No
actual football
Diddy.
conversation about this and that, you have to acknowledge the fact that they have the best personnel, top 3 personnel in the ACC, and they're putting it together. They're doing what they're supposed to do. That doesn't mean they don't drop 2 or 3 games and stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm really glad that happened. That was a ton of fun. And it's still fuck Miami. I think if they played, Georgia, Ohio State, I think they could get exposed. I think y'all are absolutely right. They ain't done shit. And
Yeah.
especially the fans gloating and things of that nature. But, I can't look at a well-oiled machine and be like, it's bullshit. It is what it is. But no, tons of fun stuff. And I think where they think they are versus where they are is the big gap. But the potential to get there, I can see the potential to go either way. But I couldn't imagine this team winning less than 9 games. I'll put it that way. I couldn't imagine Miami winning less than 9 games. But we'll see. What do you think they're going to do? Because you picked 10 fucking wins before the season.
Yeah.
So what do you think they're going to win?
We got to take the garnet and gold glasses off and just call football for football. No one said, I'm going to speak my piece. No one said they were elite. I never said that they were going to be able to beat Clemson, Georgia, Ohio State. I think Clemson is playing actual better football right now than they are.
Hurts.
But if we're just saying good football team, they're a good football team. They're a solid football team right now. We can argue, apples and oranges about who they played, but they've come out the gate and they've answered and done everything that they're supposed to do up to this point. That's all we're saying.
I know. And all I was saying is, as of right now, I would say they're a decent football team because they haven't played anybody and they haven't shown me anything other than they can beat up a bunch of poor women of the blind. That's it.
That's pretty fair. Look, we started at shit, we got to okay, and now we're at decent. So, hey, I think we have found a good common ground. I think that was a pretty fun conversation. Good. What else do we disagree that we could have some fun arguing about? Because I'll tell you what, that was a perfect way. That cheered me up.
And by the way, I never said Florida State that I couldn't sit here because I'm talking shit about them too. I never said they were a better team. I said I will sit here and talk shit about Miami until they actually beat Florida State, which they haven't done in 4 years. And they can all kiss my ass too on that. All of you. Every last one of Miami fans, y'all all are annoying with your long pinky nails and whatever it is you got going on in your lives. You suck. You're really weird. I don't know what it is. The medallions, the do-rag, all of it. I don't know what your problems are. You never went to the school. You haven't been there a day in your life. You got to travel an hour and a half to go to the games. Your coach has to give you out letters to call in sick. It's very pathetic. Maybe you guys need to take a break. Take a break because you're the most hated people in the world. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, fair. It's fair. And hey, look, the way we got here in this conversation, KP says, I guess someone scheduling all G5 teams and beating them by 30 is a top 10 team now.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, I get, but look, that's literally what all the top 10 freaking teams do. That's why it's so aggravating. And as a Florida State fan, it's I want to go play, tough teams every year and stuff. But with this new playoff era, with there being such, okay, you either win the conference or you got to be at large. If you're undefeated or with 1 loss, you got a way better chance of winning at large than if you played 3 juggernauts and, you got 2 losses on the schedule. So I wouldn't mind after this Alabama game if Florida State looked at saying, F y'all ACC, we're not going to play an ACC game till October.
Yeah.
Because it's what everybody else is damn doing. If DJU, maybe if he gets Charleston Southern and then Memphis and then maybe shit's different. And maybe you got a chance to put things together. Or maybe it falls apart. Because here's the other part of that. We can bitch and moan about it, and it's one thing that's happened to Miami. In years past, they've had teams way worse than this that were also 4-0 that we watched with our own eyes. Yes. And I got on here and said they are not a good football team. It is all bullshit. So I do see kind of a good thing there. But here's what they have to do. Now they have to play 8 ACC games in a row. Because they've already played all their out of conference. So even talk shit to ACC about what it is, they're going to have to play Florida State and then have another whoever it is, sneaky Boston College or sneaky this right off the road. So there's plenty of rooms for them to stumble. I think anywhere in 10 to 15 is okay, just because of like college football. People don't realize like half the country, they're just not going to be able to run, pass, and catch. They're not going to be able to block. Like that's just half the college football teams. Like the fact that Georgia and Alabama and Florida State in the 90s went on those runs, the fact that they did that is why it's so amazing. Think about TCU. Like they once a decade they come out and make a run towards a title, and then they're dog shit for 8 or 9 years. It's hard. But anyways, fun shit. Jen, anything on your mind? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to talk about before we get out of here? Now would be the time.
No, but thank you guys for all spending this amazing Friday night with us. I especially appreciate the Tennessee fans proving to us that they have nothing better to do with their life than join in on YouTube shows on Friday nights. But I guess if that was the only thing I had to do on Friday nights was discuss that god-awful orange color, I probably would do this too. So, be blessed.
Yeah, well, I hope you're right, and I do agree they probably lose a big game somewhere. I would love it, and I hope Jen's right, and they're just like shit, good, decent, whatever you want, whatever we ended up, and I hope it's all a facade. I hope they fall apart. I hope I'm
As
wrong
they
about
do
what
every
I have
year.
seen thus far. It's been 20 years in a row now, which they had the 1 year when they won 10 games or whatever, but it was a Citrus Bowl or something of that nature. It wasn't anything on the line, but live it up is all I can say. I'm ready for. I want to see that game where you play a good team. Let's see it. But yeah, that's all I've got. Deshawn, do you have anything you want to get off your chest? Whatever, plug your YouTube channel.
No, I just say check us out on Pro Football Talk. Let's Talk Ball, Double D's Let's Talk Ball podcast. Also, Let's Double D's Let's Talk College, and D's Corner, DSCORNER. That's
Boom!
it.
You heard it here first. And again, follow us. You see our Twitter handles right there above our head, right there below Deshawn. Spear Addicts is next. Appreciate him hanging out. He said to put a poll up. Maybe you can let us know, everybody, if you're watching this. Let us know whether the roast won or the rundown. That's pretty funny. But maybe we can do this. We're getting to know each other better, have fun with this stuff. So just keep hanging out there with us, and hopefully, there's better days ahead for the Renegade Report. There's better days ahead for Florida State football, and hopefully we can get this win and get something going. Maybe upset some teams. It's fun when you start out shitty, and then you can see things come together and play spoiler down the road. It's not as fun as making a playoff run and things of that nature, but there's a chance the second half of the season could be a lot different watching experience. But guys, the big thing is just kind of you got to realize it's never going to go back to what the expectations were at the beginning of the year as a team, as a program.
Wait,
they never
what?
changed. I said the expectations for this team are never, ever going to go back to what they were at the beginning of the year. The expectations of the program remain the same. But don't go comparing every week to the beginning because you'll drive yourself crazy. But there is a chance that this team going from where it is to where it will be. It'll be a lot of fun. You'll be able to see things for the future. But that's about it. And hopefully it starts right here with this odd game. Go ahead, Jen. What?
Nothing. I'm just laughing. I'm still laughing that this is a sod game. Like, I am still kind of floored by all of it. I'm just so floored by it. But guys, I don't even think it's that the players are bad. I think it's a mixture of the Ireland stuff, the planning. I just don't know. I'm hoping.
You said the planet.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm doing some major cope right now because I'm thinking about it. I'm like, how the fuck is SMU a sod game? And we're sitting here having to sit here with smiles on our face going, well, I mean, we don't know. Like, how did we get here? But I'm just saying, Lord Jesus, help me.
To answer the question, it's because it's a road game and Florida State is an underdog. So that's how that happens. And SMU might be one of the worst teams ever in one of these situations, but it is what it is. Bring some sod back. I'll be happy. You got to start somewhere. Again, it's never going back to what we thought it was going to be. You just got to take every week for what it is. SMU would be a better win than Memphis, and we lost that one.
For sure.
So, here we go, baby. And we'll be back for the instant reaction right after the game. Of course, as always, we'll see. Maybe one of these guys will join me. You never know who's going to show up there. But then back Sunday, who knows? We'll join us. We'll call it a day. Go Noles, baby.
Oh no.
It's easy to abandon fundamentals. Easy to not communicate, not get the call. It's easy for those things to show up. And then you get to look back, and it's opportunity for regret. Everybody knows we're better than what we just put out there on that field. And that all comes down to me.